So welcome everyone to the Emotional Intelligence and Career Transition weekly video with myself, Denise Farquharson, the Emotional Intelligence Coach, and my colleague, Dr. Tara Hines, who's the Career Transition Coach. Hi everyone, how are you doing?
Hello,
Tara,
hello.
hi, great to have you with us. And we've got
Absolutely.
absolutely, and I really, really always enjoy talking to you. And I'm sure we're going to come up with some exciting tips and strategies for our listeners today. Now, the topic for today is, and I'm going to look at it again because it's a really interesting one, EQ hacks for your career shape shifting. And we want you today to unleash your inner career chameleon.
Your inner chameleon. Ah,
Unleash your inner chameleon. I mean, it's a really interesting one because can we give you some hacks? Yes, we can. Tips, strategies, and we're going to leave you with some today. And if you're listening to this on the replay, please do go back and share it with other people as well. But there are times when you do have to reshape your career. But by doing it, you will sometimes have to come out of not being a chameleon anymore, and you are going to have to shift and shape how you act, how you are in your corporate or business world. And the reason why you have to do that is because you cannot stay where you are by hiding. And therefore, you're going to need to use some emotional intelligence, self-awareness, self-regulation, self-management to help you then determine what next for your career journey. And so when you are having to do that shifting, and when you are having to no longer be that chameleon, what you will unleash is a new career transition journey. And the work that myself and Dr. Tara do is to help you get on that journey, map it out as effectively as you can. And during this season, we're currently in the festive season, it's a brilliant time to do so because you've got lots of relationships around you. You're seeing lots of friends and family, potentially. And it's giving you different perspectives about what to do next. Not to rush into it, but we always would, and I would suggest, use the self-knowing emotional intelligence trait to determine what to do next, how to know yourself. Reason being, you're feeling lots of things, you are thinking a lot, but there comes time where you are going to have to start doing some talking, either to yourself or sharing with someone or a mentor as to what to do next to come out of that chameleon state. And then also there's going to be some action that's going to be required to move from A to B to C. So let me just jump over to Tara now. Tara, what are your thoughts on this topic that we're covering today?
This is such an interesting and thought-provoking topic, particularly the end of the topic, and that's to unleash your inner chameleon. And my initial thoughts as we were just kind of jumping into this topic earlier is, I thought about the chameleon and how many people may or may not have seen one in their time. But if you know anything about chameleons, you know that they are able to shift depending on their environment. And that just really started my mind to racing because so many times it's not that we shift, but we change depending on our work environment. And it depends on the personalities around us, the work environment, how our comfort level. And we find that we change because we're trying to fit into this new culture, or we're trying to, be a part of this particular group. And there is definitely a difference between shifting and changing. And I think that really sets the foundation for this discussion as we talk about, the crucial role that EI plays in shaping our career and shifting our career. Because it's really important that we are able to show up as our authentic selves and not focus on the change, but lean in for the shift. And I think that you absolutely were spot on with self-awareness or self-knowledge, because it's absolutely important to know what are your triggers? Because if you've been in this situation before of acclimating to a new environment, to new people, to new leaders, there are some triggers that you should be aware of before entering into those relationships. And more importantly, to know how you're going to respond if they show themselves. And so having self-awareness is absolutely important in that career shape and in that career shift. And the second thing that came to mind for me is I'm going to intentionally not say stress management and say how you lift and shift when things are heavy, because things are going to be volatile. They're going to be up and down, in those beginning months or weeks in the new environment. But how you lift and shift during that time is really important. And the pressures are going to be different. They will have different priorities, but being aware, one, of my triggers in this space, and then two, how I lift and shift those pressures to find some type of balance. And so, many times I know that we say work-life balance. I personally don't think that there's ever a work and a life balance, but I do truly feel that you can find ways to maintain on both sides. And so the pressures are different, but how you lift and shift those pressures really help you in how you're shaping your career and how you're shifting in that environment.
Absolutely. And I was saying to you that just that analogy alone reminds me of somebody who's weightlifting and how they're having a heavy burden of probably being just in the wrong role. And
Mm,
sometimes when you are doing that weightlifting, you are having to adjust the heaviness and cope and balance
mm,
and adjust. And
right.
as you say, shift. But actually, uh, those things are what you now need to be aware of. And if you're listening to this on the replay, be aware of how much adjusting and shifting and rebalancing you're doing, because those are going to be good indicators for you that something needs to be different and a transition may well be required. But here are some, just very simple ideas for you to just understand, well, what do I do? So when you are sensing that there is some type of unleashing required, you're going to need to breathe. When you're in the middle of reading an email, when you're in the middle of a conversation with a leader, when you are working with a team and there is a conflict taking place, breathe. Breathe so that you can think effectively and act and respond with the right emotional intelligence approach, with empathy, with self-knowing and thinking before you say and before you do. Also, journal. Write down the things that you are sensing and feeling. And by doing that, that will also help you to identify, when do these feelings occur? How often do they occur? What are some of those triggers, excuse me, that will cause you sometimes to then start thinking, you know what? I'm out of here today. And we've all had those moments. What caused that? Why did you react that way? And when you sleep on it, why did you go back? And then also consider journaling all of those things to help you. And also consider a mentor. Who in the leadership do you see as being where you want to attain to, or matrix that you'd want to work with, or be seconded to, or do an interim role? Because all of these things will help you breathe, watch out for the triggers, journal, mentoring. They're all great, simple. We always do simple, right, Tara? Simple
Yes.
tips that can just help you step from A to B to C in your transition of your career and help you then determine, I don't want to be a chameleon anymore. I want to be my true, authentic self. So, how do I step out from that space and deal with it effectively? And I've always said, if you can have a good balance of your self knowing yourself, then that will help you to be more self aware, understand what you're thinking, make the right choices. And when you do have triggers throughout the days of meetings and conferences and emails and more meetings and back to back meetings and lunch dates and all these different things that happen in the corporate world constantly,
Yes.
you've got to give yourself that space to think. So, Tara, just to wrap up then, over to you in terms of other things or tips that you can give for a career transition journey.
I think that that was a great list. And I would add to those as you are journaling to meditate on the items that you are writing down, but and then to prioritize them because you can make this list of different things as it relates to next steps, and it could seem overwhelming. However, it's really important that you prioritize those tasks effectively so that you can manage them not only as you're doing them, but in your head so that you are not feeling this heavy lift, feeling like you have to lift all this heavy weight or pressure that's going on around you. And so I would definitely say to meditate, but also to prioritize those things. And this is the thing. With EI and you thinking about how it's going to shape your career and how it's going to shift, it's going to really help you in navigating the complexities of the work or your career are going to change over time. But it's really important to be able to navigate them, to be able to adapt to various situations, and but also to build those relationships in the process.
That'll be interesting for us in the next few days after listening to this recording that you just let us know, how have you unleashed your inner chameleon? We'd love to hear from you. But please do. Tara, great talking to you again, but please do subscribe, follow, comment, and let us know how you're getting on. And if you do need to reach out to either of us, then please do just connect with us straight away, and we will be more than happy to help and support you on your journey. Thank you. Bye bye.